Let us meditate like a Jedi after reciting a concise meditation manual. If you wish to recite along with me, simply join me on the Tube app. From an evolutionary perspective, stress is anything that circumstantially, physically, interpersonally, or mentally inhibits our ability to survive and thrive as a species. We evolved a collection of survival instincts to endure our stressors. These are fine when used sparingly, but since the Neolithic Revolution, we as a species have been forced to overuse them. Enslaved by the fleeting, short-term pleasures of our dopamine-oriented reward system, we've become defined by our controlling tendencies, and as such, overfocus, overanalyze, and overbelieve to such a degree that we exhaust our dorsolateral and medial prefrontal cortex, which triggers our amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression. Causing cowardice, competition, and cruelty to be the guiding light by which we needlessly squander our brief human lives. The fulfillment for which we yearn could only be delivered by our oxytocin-oriented system that rewards for cooperation and kindness. This meaningful path has 8 folds. Let us forsake the exhausting habit of actively fighting against our autonomic nervous system, the hardware of our Buddha nature, and instead with it, cooperate. By silently and mentally reciting the verb watch each time we feel our chest swell as we inhale, and by silently and mentally reciting the verb rest each time we feel our chest subtly sink as we exhale gently. Come, let us explore how this works. During each inhalation, spontaneous and uncontrived, the sympathetic nervous system centered in the middle bit of our spinal cord is already wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly watch our perceptions. The sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, and scents of the 4 bases of mindfulness: the circumstantial, physical, interpersonal, and mental, including our abilities to emote, intend, reason, recall, and imagine. Instead of indulging our controlling tendencies to shove at circumstantial danger, physical pain, interpersonal scorn, and mental shame, as well as reach for circumstantial safety, physical bliss, interpersonal praise, and mental fame, let us choose to be vulnerable to all that we experience. From the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. What are we to do with all that we watch? simple. With every exhalation, the top bit and the bottom bit of that same spinal cord, known as our parasympathetic nervous system, is already wired to rest in such a manner that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, less defining, and even as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which although could look tantalizing to the eye, could feel non-graspable to the hand. Until, of course, the next inhalation, when the cycle begins afresh. Like the ticking pendulum of a grandfather clock, we continue to watch and rest. The acquisition of a new skill could make us anxious, and even feel like that we, like Rip Van Winkle, which is a bit of a tongue twister, could sit to meditate only to open our eyes and find that a century has passed us by. So, some have found that the best way to non-neurotically time our meditation is to practice a variation of Bengali crease counting. It could take more than 1 minute to count 16 inhalations by touching at the tip of our right thumb to the creases and tips of its little ring. Try to get this on the camera. Middle and index fingers. It could take more than 20 minutes to count 16 sets of 16 inhalations each by touching the tip of our left thumb to the creases and tips of its little ring, middle, and index fingers. It could take more than an hour to count 3 collections of 16 sets of 16 inhalations each. By using the tip of our left middle finger to first support our right middle finger's large lower knuckle. Then support its middle knuckle, and then support its very small upper knuckle, all while resting both hands, palms up in our lap. Remember, that which at first feels awkward could be mastered if practiced every 12 hours for only a week or so. As we sit and breathe and watch and rest, all that we notice could effortlessly come to feel impermanent, evanescent, and utterly subject to change. The more we sit and breathe and watch and rest, the more our angry and aggressive amygdala is calmed. And the more our empathetic anterior cingulate gyrus is gently stimulated, so marinating our experience of the 4 bases of mindfulness, that mentally our intentions are spontaneously kinder. Interpersonally, our utterances are naturally kinder. Physically, our conduct is automatically kinder. And circumstantially, our commerce is impulsively kinder. Thus forging a heaven on earth, eventually a peaceful death, and even an auspicious rebirth, if there is such a thing. The more we sit and breathe and watch and rest, the more we automatically experience the effortless effort or wu wei that comes not from calculated contrivance, nor from wild scatteredness, but instead from love's center, but instead from love's deeply centered spontaneity. Let us transcend our elitist conditioning to consider the possibility that enlightenment is merely mastery of this eightfold path. As children, the skills to use the toilet, brush our teeth, tie our shoes, and ride a bike felt insurmountable. And yet, with time and effort and tears, we so mastered these skills that we could perform them spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. Similarly, enlightenment's eightfold path is likewise effortless. Perhaps that is why in the second and final passage of his discourse on the four bases of mindfulness, the Buddha is said to have explained that one could master his path in as little as 7 days. No, doing so does not mean we'll never experience any pain ever again. It simply means we will have mastered the Buddha's figurative tool chest, wherewith we could sustainably respond to each sling and arrow of outrageous fortune. So, once every 12 hours or so, may we sit and breathe and watch and rest. Having completed our opening recitation, let's take a moment to shift gears. It is Sakatono Thursday, mid-afternoon. Let us meditate the language after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is the Dzogchen Semde Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I've harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I can become your personal, nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to meditate like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. For the remainder of this mid-afternoon's live stream, let us sit and breathe and watch and rest. And as such, become more and more the people that our dogs already think we are. So let us begin by keeping track of our first collection of 16 sets of 16 inhalations. We are already wired to watch and rest in harmony with our breathing. Society excites our controlling tendencies, tempting us to actively focus, actively analyze, though doing so is a fool's errand. We contain those controlling tendencies by flexing our will to simply, silently and mentally recite the verb watch as we breathe in, as well as silently and mentally recite the verb rest as we breathe out, and in so doing, cooperate passively with our autonomic nervous system. Irony of ironies, enlightenment is just that easy. You can practice breathing and watching and resting as you walk, as you sit, as you lay down, even as you perform squat thrusts. If you wish to join me in reciting the 13th poem of the Tao Te Ching, you can do so on the tuba. Success is as dangerous as failure. Hope is as hollow as fear. What does it mean that success is as dangerous as failure? Whether you go up the ladder or down it, your position is shaky. When you stand with your 2 feet on the ground, you could always keep your balance. What does it mean that hope is as hollow as fear? Hope and fear are both fountains that arise from thinking of self. When we do not see the self as self, what do we have to fear? When we see the world as ourself, let's try this again. See the world as yourself, have faith in the way things are, love the world as yourself, and then you can care for all things. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 3.5 hours, I would very much like to return to today's 3rd recitation and meditation. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.